And joining me now here in Washington, D.C. is Jason Miller, the communications director and the President-elect Trump's transition team member. All right. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening. What a great time to be alive.
Indeed, indeed. Now, we understand that the decision is coming soon as to who will be the President-elect's chief of staff. And we're hearing that Reince Priebus, who's the head of the RNC, as well as Steve Bannon, the campaign CEO, and the CEO of Breitbart are in the running. What can you tell us?
Well, in a perfect dodge, I will go right to the fact that we know whoever the President-elect is going to pick, it'll be somebody very good. He has excellent judgment. He surrounds himself with the best people. He knows what the task is at hand, that we need to go forward and implement these campaign promises with repealing and replacing Obamacare, securing our border, and whoever he puts in those top leadership positions will be top-notch people who are ready to lead this country forward.
Now, if it's one or the other, if it's Reince or if it's Steve Bannon, do you think that both of them will end up being in the administration?
Both played critical roles on the campaign, with Chairman Priebus running the RNC and Steve Bannon doing a fantastic job as the campaign CEO. I'd also mention that Kellyanne Conway being the first woman
I was going to get to Kellyanne,
to manage a presidential race, or a successful presidential race. Very historic, and she did a fantastic job. And really, we had a great team all the way top to bottom. Really powerful people who spoke their mind, who knew how to get things done. I think it was a big part of the reason we're able to build the support structure around the president-elect.
But do you think that both Reince and Steve would both be in the White House with the president?
I know the president-elect respects both of their counsels, and I think you'll see he'll continue to respect.
All right, so let's talk about Kellyanne Conway, the first woman to actually run a successful presidential campaign. I mean, the woman had like a Midas touch. She was able to go in there from the summer going forward, and she had a tough job. I mean, she had to communicate. She had to make sure that the president-elect stayed on message, and she did a terrific job. Where is she going to be in this administration? And will she be with the president-elect?
I think she'll be probably wherever she wants to be. I think the president-elect very much respects her counsel and her opinion, not just as a campaign spokesperson, but I think as a sounding board and someone who has a lot of ideas on how to implement this vision. And that's one of the things that, as people start to talk about the untold stories of the campaign, is really how well everybody got along. How everyone was singularly focused on Mr. Trump's vision and what we had to do. And even, I'll tell you this about Kellyanne, even in the toughest days we had on the campaign, never once wavered, never once blinked, always focused, always firmly believed that we were going to get the win. And I can tell you, even behind the scenes, never once faltered. And so very impressive job by her and really the entire team.
You know, Jason, it was a tough campaign. I mean, you know, between the media and everything coming at you. I mean, even the Pope came after you guys. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And yet there was always this conviction that it was going to happen. And you had a candidate who worked 24/7. I mean, I know the man. I mean, the man he just doesn't tire. There was never a moment when people said, my God, this isn't going to happen?
No. I mean, there was really this firm belief among everyone on the campaign team. It didn't matter if it was Steve Bannon at the top or if it was the folks who were walking precincts, that this was a candidate who was going to win this race. And I think as you saw Mr. Trump on the campaign trail, the tens of thousands, 20,000 that we had in Tampa that would show up for these campaign rallies and these speeches that he would give. And I think that's something that he really didn't get enough credit for on the campaign trail, was how powerful of a speaker he was and the way that there was something going on. And I will tell you, that even all the data that we were looking at, we knew that Pennsylvania, that we had a shot, but we knew it would be tough. The person who most believed that we were going to win Pennsylvania was Donald J. Trump. And he said, guys, you're missing it. There's something big that's going on here. We have to get back over and over. And the way that people would show up to these rallies and just show their enthusiasm, it was, I mean, you know, pick the greatest speakers of all time, whether it's, you know, Winston Churchill or Ronald Reagan. I mean, Donald Trump was right there as far as the motivating figure.
And, you know, I mean, that's almost contrary to what a lot of these pollsters would tell you. They would say, look, you as a candidate thinks everybody's loving you, but, you know, the polls are telling us someone else. But Donald Trump has always been prescient. He's always been a visionary. I mean, he was even prescient about Huma Abedin's husband there, Anthony Weiner, you know, which really, I think, ultimately brought them all down, or Hillary brought herself down, so to speak. But speaking of that, you know, what do you think of Hillary coming out today and saying, you know, FBI Director James Comey is the reason I lost the election? What do you think of that?
Look, Mr. Trump won. We know that. There's no reason to pick a fight with Hillary. But the one thing I'll say that since the election, that Mr. Trump has had a very good tone, I think, coming out of the campaign. I think he's been very focused on what he needs to do. Had a good meeting with the congressional leaders when he was up here on the Hill. We're looking forward, and that's really the approach that he's going to take, because let's be honest, over this past 8 years, the country has grown more divided, not more unified. And I think what you're going to see is with President Trump, after he's sworn in on the 20th, that he is going to be that unifying figure.
Are you going to be in the White House, Mr. Miller?
That'll be up to the president.
All right. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Judge.
Are you tired?
I'm always tired.
All right. Thanks so much.